Well, good afternoon, everybody. And here's a bit of a surprise. Larry hasn't arrived yet. At least I don't see him. Acero doing his usual thing, turning up usually about a minute before the room's due to go up. And the room is due to go up any second. And Larry's maybe trying a new technique here. Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. It's certainly good evening to Acero. It's I'm guessing 11 PM at night there. So Larry, once the room goes up, we'll have 10 minutes to get in. The assumption is he's practicing offline. Well, we've got a triple header again. This is the third triple header in this tournament, and this is the first match of the afternoon. We'll go over one or two. I never knew that match was starting. Sargo must have accepted the proposal. I noticed there's a few proposals going through. We'll have a look at the bracket at some point. We need a bit of an update. Sargo and Jover are going to go ahead. We may well end up going to that match if Larry is a no-show for whatever reason. It'd be very unusual if it was. Larry is always there. He's never ever failed to turn up for a tournament yet. And this match is a round 3 match, as you can see in the chat. A race to 14, and Acero is in waiting, and we're waiting to see if Larry turns up. And I'm certainly waiting to see if Larry can have a long run in this tournament and maybe get lucky here or there. He's certainly going to need it with the amount of heavy hitters that are in the tournament, even in the one-loss side now. Good afternoon, Bill. Good afternoon to anybody else who's just joined. Well, Larry has arrived, so we will jump in the room, and I'm going to do the usual. It's going to be preaching the same thing. It's 10 ball, and it is a lag for break, and Larry, I think, is on the far side. I might be wrong again. But it looks like Larry has won, if that is him. Yes, it is. So we're all good to go. So it's a call shot game. All combos and banks should be called. There are no jump queues, and it's winner breaks, and it's a 60-second shot clock with a 60-second extension, and we are hoping to see some good quality here. That's what's to be expected. So the break from Larry, like many others in a lot of other matches, the break is dry, and Acero might try and stun up towards that 3 and 8, although he could bank the one by mistake, so he's got to be sure of what he's doing here, whether he's playing the safety or calling the bank. Oh, apologies already, I've started yawning, and this is the time where I normally have a little nap and the brain doesn't know that, it just automatically kicks in. Can't help it. Well, he's called the bank. Of course, look at where the 2 is, and I think he's used his tactical brain. Like I said, he's played really the safety, and that's a good shot, because it was easy to stun down behind that 3 ball and immediately put Larry in trouble. Acero's obviously been reading my Tactical Genius manual. He definitely has, because that's the shot I would have played. Now look at the table and see where the run out is. It's a bit of an awkward one again. The 5 ball is a bit of a problem. Larry's missed a hit, so we'll have the first ball in hand. And let's see what acero can do here. No problem with the 1, no problem with the 2, provided he doesn't go dead straight on it. He wants an angle like that, which is perfect. That gets him out in between the 8 and 7, and then he should also be on that 4 into the right middle. But getting onto the 5 is a choice. Either try and draw over to the short side of it to play it in the bottom right, or take the wider angle on the right side, but having to make a combo, and I think it's gone wrong. He's run into the 7. Yep, and Larry can breathe a sigh of relief. He's going to get a second bite at the cherry here. Well, it might be worthwhile just going straight off the side rail, calling the left middle pocket, so I presume that's what he's done. He's called something, although I missed it. Now, of course, acero not getting it safe, but how does Larry deal with this 5 ball? I think he's got to go down the right hand side and play the combo. I don't think it's worthwhile trying much else. He's having a look at it now, so that'll be the shot. Has to avoid the scratch in the right middle pocket if he's going to help it across here. Hopefully Snakes hasn't got in the room to make a fool of himself. And Larry's run into the 8, and he's going to be in deep trouble again. Well, he's only gone into the room. He's not done anything, so that's fine. But Larry's got bigger problems here than Snake's gone into the room. He's trying to find a way to get to this 5 ball, and it is not easy. And now he's opened up the corner pocket, everything's on, and acero with a chance to go 1 up. And I'll have a quick drink if I can find my bottle. Where's it went to? So acero looking just to finish above the 10 ball here. Once he's played the 8, that is. He might leave the higher cut, but if he does, he's going to have to, yeah, he's got a bit of draw and spin on it, and that'll do nicely, because he can still drop the 9 in and stay in the 10. Well, it's always a little test of these cuts. Remember, late at night for acero, but he's off and running, and Larry getting himself in trouble. and it's cost him the first rack. Now that one ball isn't going to go because the 7 is a blocker. Now is Larry going to try and get really cute here? I don't think so, because he's probably going to scratch off the 7 if he tried anything to sneak the cue ball into the corner. And the other problem is trying to get back away from that 1 ball, because look at all the clutter on the left hand side. He's just tried to find somewhere to hide the cue ball, but I don't think he's managed it. But Acero can bank the 1. I know he's decided to use the mass of balls to hide the cue ball. I don't think he's fully hidden it, has he? Well, yes, he has. Well, there he's got the hit. He's got to a rail, and he's left nothing easy. And certainly no way is this an easy table to run out, the way these balls are lying. The 2 ball will go past the 8, and then it's up for the 3, and the 4 will go past the 8 down the rail. That's a good shot in the 1. Now he could take a little risk here and draw into the 6 and the 4, and he should still be in the 3, but he would just sort of open things a wee bit more. But I don't think he can avoid it, to be honest with you. In fact, he's probably going to run into the 9 before he runs into the 6 and 4. Well, no, he hasn't. He's managed to get it. I thought he was going to, the angle he had, he was going to run into them. So he's kept it clean. So now this shot here that he's got on the 3, the problem with that is he needs to try and come over here as much as he can, and I think he's going to hit the jaw, so he should be okay for the avoiding the scratch. He's just double checking. I think he'll hit the point, and if it works for him, he'll come back out. He doesn't want to come this way so much, he wants to go that way a bit, and he hasn't really got there. He's got another toughie. Now what about that 5-10? It's nowhere near set. Avoided the scratch off the 10, and he's sitting pretty well in the 6. I don't think he can he drop this in and still hold for the 7? I don't think he can do that. He's got to go off the rail, top rail. Now here's the one that is going to be the problem. He's going to have to play the cut on this 8 ball. I think the angle he's got, there's no way he can hold. In fact, even when you look at it down there, there's no way he's getting on the 8 from that side. So anywhere over here would give him the pot, as long as he gets to about that line, and that will do. Yeah, Acero is always going to be problems for whoever plays him. He's a sensible player, although he could have played that one better. This is the one that's a little tester. Cut down the rail. Shouldn't have any problem getting on the 10. Well, I'll ask me the same question in about 45 minutes time. I mean, Larry's not really had a shot yet. But it's 2-0. Semi-Pro thinks this is a one-loss side as well. 14.10 is a prediction. So Acero breaks off in rack number 3, leading 2-0, 2 ball down in the break. Quick look at this one. Now, does that one go? I think it does. Yep. And he's pretty much got there in the 3. He's going to be on the 4, no problem. Now what does he do here? No, I would expect to get at least 4 racks. At least 4. Well, he's short, and short by a big margin. Played the stun. I don't think he could have played it much harder, but didn't get that running in the cue ball. He's still got a thin cut in this 5, but this is a toughie. But once again, if he gets this, he'll be on the 6. As long as he avoids running into something like the 9 ball. And he's played that well. I like the pace that he's got these balls running at right now. Now, this is the one that can go wrong. I think he's got to stun this in and stun across, avoiding the 10 ball. And again, he's just a bit short. He just didn't get the meat into that there. It's another little testy bedhead cut, this one. And like I say, and I've said 1,000 times, sooner or later you're going to run out of shots. You know, you can't keep potting these. But he's got it, and he's going to finish fairly square on this 8 ball. Now, does he run around the angles? Putting a wee bit more in the cue ball to try and get good on the 9, or does he think he's okay where he is? Well, around the angles, and that again, the pace in this is excellent. Just a wee bit more angle than they would maybe like, but the pace is good. Good reader afternoon. What the hell is Jose saying? Well, it's an impressive start here for Acero. Larry hasn't had a chance to show us what form he's in because he's not had a shot. So it's a break and run from Acero. And we're into rack number 4. And once again, there's a ball in the break. And there's a shot on here on the 1, and the 2's over the right middle. Well, this has got to be delicate, and he's got to just try and miss that 5, and I don't think he's not risking it. Content to keep things tight, as Larry's going to have to do as well. He's going to have to find ways to get Acero in trouble to try and get himself into this match. Well, easy kick, and Acero's calling the 1. He's going across the table just in case he gets lucky and gets this more or less full in the face and pots the 1. Was you using a translator or something there, Jose? Because it all went wrong. Don't know what you were saying. Good afternoon. Hola. Yeah, instead of, that's the Spanish version of stubbish. Larry, once again, no shot. Now, what's he looking at? Can try and get in behind the 9 and 10 going back across the table, but he's called the bank. But is he trying to just run away down the table and try and push that 1 towards the 6? Well, he's kissed off the 5. He's got the cover. I think he just called the 1 ball just in case. He was more interested in getting the cue ball safe, which he has done. So, if like Jose you're a late comer, welcome. I mean, what do you make of this Parliament with the caps lock on? What a numpty. Oh, it's not Parliament, it's Potman. I can't read. I mean, this is the chat sitting right in front of on my screen, and I still can't read whose name it is. Well, Larry's got his chance, and putting it simply, he has to deliver. And that 5 ball is awkward, because he's got to try and get himself through for that 6 ball in the top rail. The 9 ball's only going into the top right hand corner, so there's a bit of manoeuvring needing done here. Well, it's all going to hinge on how good he gets on this 8, because he wants to get fairly straightish on this 9 ball if he can do it. Doesn't want to be leaving any big angles. He'd much rather just pot the 9 into the top right and drop onto the 10 down into the bottom right here. That's a simple way of doing it. Doesn't want to be colliding with the 10 if he can help it. And the way he's sitting on this 8 ball, he should be fine. Oh dear. Well, you see, that's not great. That is not a great place to be. See, now he's he can't just simply focus on the pot. He has to think about the cue ball now, and that's not what you want to be doing. And this is where things go wrong. Keep saying it. If you can get it as simple as you can, it makes it a lot easier to drop onto that next ball. And this is not quite as simple, because the focus is on the pot as well as the cue ball here. Well, there you go. Need I say more? I keep telling you, you've got to get that cue ball out and across and get as straight as you can in the 9, because then you won't have as much to think about. And it's all gone wrong, and this will be a sore one. It's not easy here for Acero, but he'll be all out for the pot, because the cue ball is going to go over to the right, and he'll have a shot in the 10, and that is a good cut, and this is going to be painful. And that's the price you pay for not getting shape. Perfect example of it. I could see it coming a mile away. If he couldn't get good on that 9, I mean, Semi, you said it was, you know, it looks simple. As soon as I look at where the 9 ball is, if you don't get a straightish on it, you know it's going to lead to problems. And once again, the commentator's eye has got it right. And Larry is in trouble here. But that positional shot, he had to have more juice on the cue ball to come right out into the table. Get the 9 as straight as you can, because everything else then is just, it's just simple. Roll the 9 in, roll the 10 down the rail. So he was the architect in his own fault in that rack. So that was the first good chance Larry had, and he's blown it big time. And trailing 4-0, he's going to have to. This is where he's going to have to start taking risks. And knowing Larry, he'll take them, and it could backfire even bigger. So Larry looking to kick at the 1 and looking for cover somewhere. Has he got there? I don't think he has. I think that will pot. Although no worries about getting on the 2. Sorry, the 2's hanging over the corner, 3 hanging over the other corner. Yeah, I saw that on YouTube. Oh, he did a jump shot as well. I thought he was talking about the one that you did. I thought the time he posted was about the same as what you had done. Well, Larry's going to do well here to get on this 4. Well, how's that for positional play? That is a nice bit of luck. Broke away the 6 and 7, opens up the 4, but now he has to back it all the way. And again, there's problems because he's pretty straight in this 5, and it's probably got to be the big draw, and just hope that he gets over to the left and doesn't block himself out here. Doesn't block himself out, and he's found a gap. Well, the cue ball, he's going to try and baby this in and hold for the 7. Cue ball squirting away up the table, and a similar problem now. Can he come up the table and run into the 10? I don't know whether he can, because if he doesn't and he goes high, he's going to left himself blocked out in the 8. I don't know whether he's going to try and do something and go over behind the 8 on the left hand side. That makes the shot even more difficult. Yeah, couldn't avoid a collision, and now it should be the safety. Push that to the rail, try and go over behind the 10. Too risky to go for the bank, simply because the 9 ball's up the opposite end of the table, and he's played a good safety. It's not a difficult kick, and I mean, I fancy kicking this in, by the way. I mean, acero's calling that in the middle pocket. Well, he's calling it in the corner. I would spin in behind that and call it in the middle, but he's calling it in the top corner. No, if you put the spin on it. If you put the spin on it, spin it to the rail and then get the kick right, there's a strong chance it would have been in the middle. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Acero called it in the corner, but he's got it pretty safe, and the reverse bank is on, and I don't know whether Larry can resist it. No, he can't. So it all hinges in this shot and getting onto the 9. And that's in all the way, and there's a nice kiss on the 9. So far at 3-0 up, acero didn't put a foot wrong, and when Larry had his chance he blew it for 4-0, and now he's got the best chance he's ever going to have to get off the mark right here. He's stuck to the rail though, but it's pretty straight, and at last Larry's, I wouldn't necessarily say Larry's in the match. All I'm going to say is he's not on 0 anymore. It's all a question of whether he can get a ball and get a run going, and that isn't happening. And of course that's what works against you as well with 10 ball. Not just 10 ball but 9 ball. The obvious thing is, if you can't get any joy in your break and get the chance to do what acero did, and that was break and run out, then it's so difficult to get into the match, especially if you're breaking dry and you're leaving your opponent a shot to start. There's nothing more frustrating than that. And I think acero has found a 2. It might be tight. Let's have a quick shifty before he does anything. No, he can't. Thought he could get at it, but he can't. Now he could go for the old heave-ho, kick the 2 onto the 9, call the 9, or if he plays it gentle he might be leaving Larry the 2-9. If he plays anything else he might be risking a double kiss. I think he's looking to cut the 2 onto that rail and then out, but the double kiss was on. He's avoided that, and he'll take that. Now Larry's got to hit as much of this 2 as he can so that he can get the cue ball somewhere behind the 10. He needs to avoid a collision here to try and get the safety. He's trying to maybe stun it down. I think is the plan. Somewhere down there he's looking for, I think. Hasn't called a pocket, so he's playing the safety, because there's no much options of what pocket he's going to call anyway. So see, the worry with that shot was always the middle pocket. He would have loved to have used a rail there to get there, but didn't get it the way he wanted it, and he's left the 2 on. Acero's going to have to follow through, come down the right hand side as far as he can, even if he runs on to the 7. Well, he's not going to get there, but as he got past the 5, now, well, he's digging down. He might have dug down a wee bit too much. No, he's okay. Gets a kiss in the 5, and things are falling into shape here in this rack. And what does he do about the 6? Now, if he gets on the 5, if he got on the 5 there, he could stun across for the 6. He won't be able to do that from there, I don't think. There's too much angle. We'll soon know if he jacks up the cue, if he's going to try and no. Well, in the end, I don't know really what he played for there. I mean, this is all your eggs into one basket to make this cut. And this might be a chance for Larry in a second or two, because this is by far not easy. Well, my suggestion, Semi, is that Larry turns up pretty sharpish. And like now that he's got the chance, because that shot that Acero played there was strange, because I don't know what he hoped to do, played it at that pace in terms of getting good on the 6. And it's given Larry a great chance here, but got to get from the 8 to the 9, but plenty of room to do that. So, well, with this shot it should be the follow through and the run off the rail. And of course, the worst fail here is not getting high. He wants that cue ball up to the middle pocket. Even if you overhit it, you want to get nice and high. Don't believe in any stupid cuts in this 8 ball. Get it right up the table. And that will do. Now, has he got the nice little angle? I think he has. And this should be perfect for the 9, as long as he doesn't scratch in that top right hand corner. I think he'll be well away from that. He'll be maybe wanting to leave the highest cut in the 9. But the cue ball's tracking towards the corner. It's tracking towards the corner. Oh dear. Well, he's living life dangerously here, Larry. Got into that a bit more than I thought he would, and just rested on the knuckle. And Larry's got himself another rack, and then once again with this break, hoping for the ball and a shot, which would really get him into the match. If he can get a ball, he's got a ball, the 1's gone, something else is gone, the 2's gone, and of course, knowing your luck, he's got no shot in the 3. What went there? The 1 and the 2, and he's looking to, well, I think he's trying to convince himself he can get between the 7 and the rail. Can he? He's going to have to be really tight. He's going to have to just get it right through that gap. Yes, he can. How's his luck? No luck. He needed more juice on it, but I think if he put any more on it, he probably might have not made the potting angle. And now he's in trouble. And this is what breaks up the rhythm as well, when you can't get into a rhythm. You can't just play a shot and beyond the next shot, play a shot beyond the next shot. It's play a shot, try and dig yourself out a hole. Play a shot, try and dig yourself out a hole. It's not falling into place here. Well, it was 6.5 a dozen. Had he played it any harder, he might not have held the line to get that 3 ball in. And now, well, let's be honest, he has to really try and, I mean, even where he is, he can't really tie a ball up. He's so close to the 6. I think it's pointless trying to hit the 5. I'd be doing anything to try and just move something and maybe lock something up with a bit of luck, because he's not going to hit the 5 and leave it safe. Put it that way. You know, now it's a free go with ball in hand for Acero. What did I say there? What did I miss that time? Bearing in mind I'm half asleep here, guys. I mean, cut me some slack, throw me a bone, as they say. Well, where's the cue ball going? Ooh. Well, he's actually perfect, believe it or not. Just off the rail and out. It's the middle of the day, but my brain doesn't know that. My brain's saying, where's my little nap? It needs half an hour's rest, and it ain't getting it. Normally this time of the day I've had something to eat, which I have had. Cup of coffee, something to eat, and normally it's TV on, feet up, and whatever's on, see a bit of it, fall asleep, wake up, and whatever it is I've been watching is finished, and then I've recovered. Well, so far Acero isn't really making mistakes, and that's why he's still holding this lead. But Larry had his chance and got himself in knots, and meanwhile Acero, well, he can't stop potting balls in the break. I mean, this table, this is a gimme. I mean, the 2 ball had gone, the 6 ball had gone. He's lying plumb in the 3 now. 4 into the left middle pocket, I would assume. 5 down the rail. And this rack is over. And there's nothing Larry can do about it. No, I've had a hard bloody day's work, that's what I've had. Up at 4:30 this morning while you've been snoozing in your bloody cot. Lazy bastards, all of yous. I mean, I don't get Sundays off. I mean, I could have Sundays off if I want them, but you get time and a half on a Sunday, and that's pure overtime for me. I'm not contracted for a Sunday, so needless to say, I'm going to be in on a Sunday, come hell or high water. But that was only cause you wet the bed again, Pop Man. You had to change the sheets and everything, Jesus. I mean, you're never out your bed at 5 AM. Well, Acero marches on. It's now 6-2, and it's definitely crisis point because Acero's broke, 7 balls gone in. He's not got a simple shot in the 1, but I think if he plays this plain ball, maybe just a feather right hand side, he's got to come between the 10 and the 8 here for the shot in the 2. Well, I think he's checked it a bit, and I don't know whether that's working, is it? Can he get there? Oh yes, he can get there. Well, what Larry wouldn't have given for for the breaks that Acero's getting, and we're not talking about lucky breaks, we're talking about the actual break shot. He's getting balls in the break, he's getting a shot, and you are powerless to do anything against it. That makes it even more vital that when you do get a chance like Larry's had, that you take them. There's just no half measures, you have to do it. And when you're 6-2 down and looking like 7-2 down, you're at the point of no return already. I mean, there's a fair bit to go in this match, but the tide has got to turn, and Larry's going to need some help, as everybody does when they get in a situation like this. He needs something to turn here, but above all, he cannot afford unforced errors. He's way past that stage already. So, well, the 6 is way too tight, so he's calling the 6-9, and this is maybe where it could end up going wrong, but no, it hasn't. Just push through in the 6. He needs to go through far enough though. He doesn't want to get too cute again. Wants to get far enough to leave this 8 fairly straight. That might be a bit too straight. He can pinch a wee bit and just come back for the 10. Or he stalled it or killed it. So either way, if this goes in, it's a 5-2, sorry, it's a 5 rack lead, and it's 7 racks to 2. Well, if you can get breaks like this throughout your matches in the tournament, you're well on with a chance. Trouble is that the next day you come to the table, you can't bloody buy a ball off the break. But this time, acero has come up dry. Well, you could say it's a chance for Larry. The problem is the 4 ball, and there's little margin for error to get on that 4 ball. Let's have a look. There's your window there to get on that cut angle in the 4. So the wider that angle is down the table like that, or sort of like that, that's the only places you're going to be where you can see that 4 to pot it. So, well, we'll leave the angle like that and see if Larry can fit into that V shape, well, partial V shape. I cocked it up a bit, but that's the line he has to be in. He's got to be within that area, and if he don't get in that area, he won't be potting the 4. And if he gets a wee bit too much into it, he could end up behind the 10. Well, he's got there, and that will do. Now, is he going to take this out? Oh, this is a problem again. Couldn't really do an awful lot more than what he's done off that 4 ball. But if he's going to come back and across, he needs to watch that 10 ball again. Well, this is absolutely vital, this rack, for Larry. Couldn't stress it enough. He's decided just to run through and leave it long, which was the sensible shot. Always dangerous if he was going to draw over to the right side. That 10 ball could have got in the way. But he needs a nice clean pot in the 6. Cue ball through off the bottom rail, and again needs to get high enough. Doesn't want to leave cuts on this 7 ball. Well, he's just okay. Now I think the problem here is the 9 ball. Ideally he would have potted this and went forward off the end rail and down. He's taking a risk if he does go forward. Yeah, he's avoided it. And now the crucial one that's going to decide this rack. Played it with a bit of inside left just to check it down the left hand side, and that will do nicely. Simple roll in, and a roll in a 10 will get him another one on the board. But is he going to get a ball? Is he going to get a shot? He so desperately needs a ball and a shot and a chance to run a rack. That would maybe settle him in. Well, Acero's last break was dry, and Larry managed to find his way through. That's tilted that rack as well. Cue ball's threatening to scratch, but I think it's dry again. It most certainly is. Well, there's a long pot obviously on the one, and it's more than likely just going to be a safety off the 2 ball, because I don't think he can get anywhere onto the 2 from this position. Let's have a look from his end. No, I think you just pot the 1 and run for cover. Well, that's going to be ball in hand for Larry, because that's the pot man shot every day of the week, that one. Well, Larry's been handed a free go here from a poor safety. Yeah, that's a new name for that shot, the pot man shot. Pot man's the expert on that one, and Larry's looking at the 3-7 because it might have to be a billiard. I mean, I don't think, well, I mean, anywhere here you're clipping the 3. Gentle, you'll cut the 7 and the 3 will go over here somewhere, and you'll still be on the 3. If he tries to get down here to make a combo, well, you would say it could probably go in, but I don't think is it worth risking that. But he's still got to deal with the 2 first of all, and he's played that well. Little nudge in the 5. Now we're going to see whether Larry is going to play what I think is the more sensible shot. The little clip and the billiard onto the 7. He's got to be on the 3. There's no way he can't be on the 3, and if he has the angle he can get out for the 4. Hugh, I'm cooking Tesco's finest battered cod. They even put a bit of newspaper in the box for authenticity. I've never tried the Tesco's finest cod, but you want to try their battered cod, the normal ones. They're absolutely beautiful. They're £3 a box, but the big extra large cod fillets, they are lovely. I couldn't get them this week, they were sold out. But I think Larry's playing a little billiard. Now, if this works out the way I said it should, he should be on the 3. Well, okay, it hasn't quite come out the way I hoped it would. He's left probably no shot other than a safety. Yeah, well, this is all out or nothing, but surely he's got to just go for distance here. The trouble with the shot that he's playing, if he plays this and just pushes it along and goes for distance, he's vulnerable to the safety where he'll be hooked behind the 9 and the 4. Well, he's gone all out for it, needs a bit of luck, and he ain't got it. Well, where do you keep this safe? He can punch the 4 up the table, try and come in behind the 9 and try and set that 4 ball down to here. So he's got to sort of push it at that angle, but if he gets too much into it, he'll bring it into play. What's he doing? Yeah, he's doing what I said. Right. He's got it safe. That will do. That's all you hope for, that you at least leave it safe. And the table's now, well, I say wide open. In theory the problem ball's the 6, especially where the 8 is, but you'd much rather have that than just selling out and giving acero a free go. Well, I don't think there's many chip shops now still using newspaper. I mean, my local one used to, they would wrap it up with a sort of bit of grease-proof paper which you would set your fish and your chips on, wrap it up with a white sheet, and then the top sheet would be newspaper. Well, acero's got the kick, and it's a good kick, because again he's left nothing easy. And I think Larry just feels with this shot he's compelled into having to go for the cut down the rail. Or is he? Is he going for it in the middle? That's a tight angle. Yeah, but of course the cue ball's going to come out squarish like that, so again it's another one. Is Larry going to run out of shots here? This would be a good rack to pinch, but has to get not only on the 6, but has to get that angle and get the cue ball moving down for this 8 ball. But well, he's got the angle, and once again he's got the dilemma of either going forward trying to avoid the 9 or drawing back. There's another chip shop quite near me, right, and I have to say, he's avoided the scratch. I have to say that the first one I was talking about is about what, maybe 600 yards as the crow flies from me. It's up at the little shopping centre, the local shopping centre, where there's one of the smaller Tesco shops. It's not one of those Tesco expresses. It's a proper store, but it's not anywhere near as big as the one I work in. But the chip shop there, as I said, used to use newspaper for the outer layer. But the other chip shop that I went to last week, they use boxes, right? So if you get like a fish supper, as we call it up here, fish and chips, anything like that, it goes into a cardboard box. And I'll tell you the biggest benefit of that, right? Well, the boxes are great because if you wrap your fish and chips in paper and you then put it into your carrier bag and then you go into the car and you go to take it home, by the time you get it home everything's sweated out into the paper, so you've got soggy chips sticking to the paper, everything's damp. But see, when you get it in a box, it's like night and day. It's beautiful. So it is. Well, Larry has got himself out. It was hard work, that rack, but he's got it back to 7-4. Still a crisis on though. Still looking for a ball and a shot, and he hasn't had it yet. And I don't think he's getting it this time either. And the thing that might have come to his rescue is a 2 ball. Well, I'll tell you, the reason I went to this other chip shop, it's not one that I usually go to, but I thought, you know something, I fancy something different. And I went onto their Facebook page, right, and they promoted a munchie box that they do, right, and what did it come to? Well, that's a good combo, and he's lying on the one. It came to £6.90 for this munchie box, right? And you want to see what you get. Goodness me, you've got a big pizza box. So I went down and I ordered it, and of course you're waiting there until they cook it all, right? And which is fine. I've not a problem with being patient on something being made fresh for me. So you get about half a dozen chicken nuggets. Well, the 3 balls been missed. You get about 4 things that look like sausages, but they're actually sort of potato. They've got a breadcrumb on them. They're like little sausages, but it's a breadcrumb on the outside. I didn't know what they were. A bit into it, and it's like potato on the outside and it's cheese on the inside. They're like mozzarella sticks. You get 4 of them. You've got your half a dozen chicken nuggets, 2 big fritters, and some other, you've got sort of crunchy, battered what's the other one? They're like battered, what do you call these? They're a bit like, oh, I can't bloody think the name of them. But anyway, they've got batter on them and they've got chicken, and you get 4 of them. And of course, goodness knows what else was in it, but I also had a smoked sausage thrown in on top because I like my smoked sausage. It was bloody delicious. So it was that and 2 cups of tea to wash it down. Well, Larry's got no shot. Is he going to play the billiard? Big stun on the 4. That's a bit risky. He can play it thin in the 4 and head up to the long grass. Try and tuck it behind that 9. And he's going to leave the cut though. But acero's going to be over the 8 to do it. Oh, I'll definitely go back and get that. I can assure you it really was lovely. And as I say, with everything being in a pizza box, everything was warm, but everything was dry in the sense it wasn't soggy. I mean, the chips were crispy and crunchy. You know, those wee crunchy bits where they've cut some of the chips thin and it's just like the end of the chip or something. Oh, they were beautiful. Could not beat it. No, they call it cod and chips and this and chips and that and chips. They don't call it a fish supper down south. I mean, the chip shops down south are a bit more exotic because they go for fancier fish. Well, acero is going to have to deal with the 8 ball. Now, he can pot the 7. Is he going to come straight for an 8-10 combo? No problem with the 6 ball. I would reckon he may well try that unless he tries to be elaborate and move the cue ball up the top side of the 8 to take it into the same pocket as the 7. Well, that depends on how good he gets on the 8. Well, that'll do. That's perfect. Can just drop it in. Nothing he needs to do other than just drop that 8 ball in, and he'll have the cut in the 9, and he'll be home and dry. So Larry's mini comeback has been stifled again, and the lead widens again. Cue ball, it's tracking all the way around the angles and in, and look at the break. Well, this rack's over, boys. This rack is done and dusted. 2 ball all around the table in the bottom right hand corner, and the balls are spread far and wide, and this is help yourself. This is like being in a sweet shop. Just take your pick of all the nice coloured Smarties. Well, he's certainly not quite as flush on that 3, and he's got more work here now though. He hasn't gone far enough out into the table, and he's going to have to dig and take the risk of the scratch here. And he's well away from it, but he spun the cue ball and pushed the 4. And now Larry is going to have to maybe use the rail. I don't know whether he fancies trying to dig deep and draw all the way from there, maybe. Let's see, is he straight? Thing is, if he uses the rail and chips the 4, the cue ball's going to go really awkward. I think he's going to have to get the amp on and get a big draw. I don't think there's any real choice here. The big heave-ho draw. Yeah, and don't hook yourself behind the 7 like that. Oh well, he's no problem hitting the 5. He's got to call it, but he can't get it direct. Where's the 6? Up the other end of the table. Now, well, I think that if he was going to go to the rail to kick this 5, he's maybe got to spin it. He's got to put right hand English on it. I think he's got to make the spin. I don't know whether he can get it clean like that. He's putting a wee bit of spin on it just to try and glance at 5. Yeah, it was so difficult to read that. But he's left nothing easy, especially by nudging the 8 ball. So this is now a vital rack. Another vital one. Well, Larry's going to maybe be forced into to be playing more riskier shots, because the longer he waits, the further acero's going away from him. And he's 8-4 down. He's running out of opportunities. Can't get a ball in the break and can't get a shot when he has had a chance. Nothing's working on the break. Well, he's at least back at the table, but again, this is deep in the pocket. Nothing but a big heavy draw. Plenty of room to get on the 6. But there are problems ahead on this visit. Well, the pace is good there now. Is he going to... What's he going to do to deal with this 8 ball? I mean, the obvious one is get yourself over to the left and leave a cut and go around the angles for the 9. That would be the obvious one. Anywhere sort of within that range is where it would be comfortable to make the cut and spin the cue ball around and come out there for the 9. Well, he's taking care of that by nudging into the 9. How's he sitting in a 7? Well, it ain't pretty. Not from this angle, it ain't. Was that worth taking that risk? I don't think so. When there was perfectly enough room on that left hand side past the middle pocket, and now he's going to have to dig out a shot. And well, you know what's going to happen now. He couldn't avoid it. Well, it's another one where he's going to have to use the rail and try and get the kick. This is a bit easier though. Or does he think he can squeeze right through there? Yeah, I mean, he thought he could squeeze there. I think he had to go to the rail. And that's a gift. An absolute gift and a howler. All in one shot. Had to use the rail to kick that 8 ball in. And acero should be home and dry in this rack, and it's going to be 9-4, and it is a mountain. Unless something changes straight away, like Larry getting this rack, And I haven't mentioned anything because Larry's hardly used his mouse, in all honesty. Well, that's exactly the point. If balls do go, I mean, it's the rule in any game, to be honest with you. You don't have to move balls if they've got a hole to go into. It's about avoiding them. But anyway, back to Larry's situation. The situation here is for Larry to get into this match, the only way it's going to happen is by acero breaking down in this rack, Larry clearing up the rack and getting a ball on the break and a shot in the next rack. It's the only way it's going to change or go in his favour slightly, and he needs it to happen once or twice. He needs a breakdown from acero. He can't do anything without assistance here now. But this has gone too straight in the 4. And he's trying to pinch this here with a bit of spin, and he's got the spin, and he's sitting nice now on the 5. Yeah, it's all about using your head. Well, this is a little tester, but he should be out. Well, I keep saying it that I mean, like straight pull. I mean, I don't play straight pull, but there's obvious things you have to do in straight pull, and that's deal with problem balls, and that's why you've got to think ahead a fair bit in straight pull, because it's all about finding your path out each rack. I mean, the same principles in these games as well. But in any game, you have to deal with problem balls, and there's a right time and a wrong time to do it, and sometimes you have to take a risk. I mean, the golden rule in snooker is never try and move a red off a red. You know, that's a fatal error. That is a cardinal sin in snooker. The only time you should be trying to move reds is off a colour. But it's double figures for acero, and it's another ball in the break and another shot in the break, and a little drawback off the 2. He's on the 3. No problem with the 4. The problem ball's a 6. So it's looking bleak for Larry, and there's a bit of a famine on here, and acero is the one sitting at the banquet because he's getting everything. It's famine and feast here. Well, that's true, but again, if you keep to the same principles as real life snooker, then it's a sure bet that you're playing it sensible. I mean, I certainly wouldn't try and move a red off a red. Maybe out of desperation if I was in a big break, not that I'm in any big breaks, but if I was, that's the only time you do something daft like that. Well, this was the problem ball, but it's no problem. Well, Larry had a couple of chances early on and blew them getting out of shape, I think, but that's about it. Other than that, he's had nothing else to go by, and the break and the ball in the break has worked absolutely perfectly for most of the night here. Well, at acero's time, night time, and but he's doing he's following it up, because that's what you have to do at this level. It's not about just getting the ball in a shot, it's about following it through and running the rack, and Acero really hasn't failed, and it's 11-4, and this is Larry's worst nightmare. So the end result in this is you can't say Larry's played bad, because he hasn't played. He's had 2 chances, blew them really, but that's about it. Other than that, he's not had a sniff. Now, can he see the 2? No, he can't. Well, that's the only bit of good luck for Larry. Well, Larry has his own way of doing things. And Acero getting a hit, and what's more, getting it safe. And look at the table again. Larry has to get this safe. If he leaves any shot in this 2, Acero's out. And the chances are he could hit this 2 half ball and push it into the 10. Well, he's hit it thinner than that, and well, let's just say he's left it awkward. But Acero has got the cut. Got nicely on the 3, but he has that problem again to deal with, just the 4 ball. Now, what's he thinking here? I mean, he could go left or right, but either way he's going to have to play a good shot to see this 4 ball. Well, it's a thin one. He's going to cut it, but obviously he's going to be nowhere near the 5 ball if he does that. He could get lucky and go off the rail and hit the 9 and hold for the 5 ball. Well, he's trying to drag it in. What a shot. Killed all the pace off the cue ball. That's excellent. Just enough pace in it to get that 4 ball and the momentum to keep going to the pocket, take all the pace off the cue ball, stop it squirting away, and sitting nicely on the 5. And now, what's to stop him? Not really much of a problem. Well, see, the drag shot like that though, you have to go right through with the shot. You can't chicken out on it, because if you do, you won't get the drag. I mean, it was a great shot, but like I say, if you go to play a drag shot like that, you have to go right through on it to get the action. So not only are you putting the pace in the cue ball, but you're putting that bottom spin in the cue ball to drag the pace out of the cue ball when it squirts away. And he couldn't have played that much more perfectly. It is about risk reward. I mean, it was a tough cut, but he's done it, and fair play to Acero. He's hardly put a foot wrong here. And in instances like that, I mean, at the end of the match, if it goes the way it's going to go by the look of it, you just have to say, well done, that's it. You know, there's nothing you can do. The other guy played a lot better than you. The other guy broke the balls. The other guy had the ball going in, was getting a shot and was running out, and he's doing everything asked of him, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And look at this for a break. I mean, my goodness me. I mean, we've lost the 2, we've lost the 6, we've lost the 7, he's sitting plumb in the 1, and well, he's going to have to do something with the 4 and 9. Now, he has the angle. Does he want to risk it? I mean, it's far too close to try and play a combo in that 4-9. He's going to try and move something, and he hasn't got there. And Larry has a lifeline at the moment with the fact that the well, is he trying to hit this hard to make a cut? I think that's a bit ambitious. No way. What does he see here? More to the point, what's he looking at? Trying to get up behind the 5, that's what he's trying to do. That's just short of pace, and Larry's lifeline has been thrown to him. Well, the angle he was playing off that, he had to be playing behind the 5. Of course, the problem is the distance it had to travel. He was basically about 7 inches short in getting there. But Larry's got a chance. Well, where the 5 ball was, I mean, you could say there was a bigger margin of error to get to the 5. If you could get that cue ball up in the corner, you'd a wider angle to at least cover something with it. But had he got there, it would have been a good shot. Now Larry has to take it out. It needs to slow up. Acero is waiting in just 2, and he just has to be patient. Doesn't need to take risks. The chances will come. Well, this match has been on for like an hour and 20 minutes or so, and the next match is due to start at the top of the hour. So Larry moves on to 5, and yet another chance and a hope for a ball on the break and a shot. And the 3 ball's gone in, and he's got a shot on the 1, I think. Yes, he has. And just needs to jack the cue up and kill the cue ball for a shot in the 2. 4 ball to follow, it shouldn't be a problem. 5 ball to follow, that shouldn't be a problem. Well, he's just letting it run. Oh dear, well, did he play that? I mean, how he shouldn't have been hitting that. He shouldn't have been hitting that 4 ball. Larry's living life on the edge here. Can he get across clean here? I mean, this is a long distance to travel, and he had to get, I mean, that was the problem, is getting across clean without colliding with the traffic, and he's out of shape, and only the safety. Just thin cut the 5, push it to the right, cue ball over to the right hand side, trying to use the 6 or the 10, and he's got there. But Larry's, the chances he has had there, I mean, he's struggling to just find a way out. Would have been much better if he could have just got that rack on the board and done and dusted quickly. But running out of shape has cost him, and what's more, Larry now finds Acero has got the kick and got it safe, and got Larry immediately in trouble again. This can go one or two ways. He can push this 5 towards the 8 at a gentle pace. As long as it gets to the rail, it should be safe. If he gets it the other side, he'll push it into the 9. Good afternoon, Keith. Never saw you there. Well, you've missed Acero. Been playing very well. Fully deserved of his lead, no doubt about that. Well, Larry's, I suppose, partially got it safe, if you would been generous, but I've no doubt Acero's going to cut this. He's left himself in the middle of no man's land, and the 8 ball is a problem. So again, Larry might have a bit of a lifeline here, but he's really hanging on by his toenails. It's been a really solid, strong performance by Acero. Well, this is as good as anything Albanario's done in this tournament, I'll tell you that. And this is going to decide the rack. Now, it's much more difficult to do anything with that 8 ball. I mean, even if you were ambitious and you got to there, you'd have to get there to have any chance of getting an angle to cut that 8. So there's he's looking for the draw. I don't know whether he's going to have an amp on, but he's going to draw up the left hand side at this angle, I think. Yeah, well, he's tried his best to get there, and he's made a good fist of it. It just did. If it hadn't actually hit the 8, it'd have probably lying in the rail right now. But it was nigh on impossible to get anywhere good on the 8. He done everything but get there. Now he's just looking to chip it, but he's chipped it too hard, and the cue ball's running, and Larry will be desperate to take this out. But it's still no guarantee, because his cue ball wants to come off the rail and go back across twice here, really, to be sure of being on the 9. If he wants to get cute, he can leave himself in trouble. Now, well, I think it would have been safer to go across the table, but anyway, let's just see if he can get it. Because you try to drop it into the middle. No, he's going for the cut. Got to get out. 1 rail, 2 rails, and out into the table to get good on the 10. Well, if he keeps going, he'll at least be looking into the other corner pocket. Well, it's 12-6 now, and really all Larry's looking for is respectability in the scoreline, because unless he starts getting balls in the break and getting shots, it ain't going to happen, especially if Acero's coming to the table with a shot, which, well, it's a slim one, but he's got a shot. Not the shot you'd want to start off, but if he can get there and get out, then he's off and running again. Although he's got a good chance of a safety as well. Trying to hide behind the 10 and 7. Not quite there. Now Larry, I think, will be going all out for the cut. Not much other options available. Can get out behind between the 8 and 4. And of course, this is also the point where it's no miss for Larry. Cannot afford any errors. The end result will just be bad. Well, the 2 will pot, no problem. 5 is the problem ball again. I mean, the 5, let's have a quick look and make sure. I mean, that 5 goes, but it only goes when you cheat the pocket a wee bit. And again, it only goes when you're sitting here with the cue ball. I mean, in terms of leaving that a cut, it ain't going. It'd be far too difficult. So, it's going to have to be dealt with one way or another. And you would think the shot he's going to have in the 4 means he's going to have to cheat it off the rail, because the cue ball is going to finish in the bottom rail, or at least it should do, so he can have the angle off the 4, and the cue ball's going to run up to the far right in the top side of the middle pocket, and he's either going to have to just push through and leave Acero snookered behind the 6, or he's going to have to cheat the pocket. I don't think he's going to get much more of a choice here. So he should have already made that decision. If he can't get on a good line on this 5, then he's probably got no other choice other than just a safety. Now, is he trying to draw with bottom and left? I think, has he got the angle to do that? Bottom and left to try and kick? It doesn't look really on to me. No. I don't know what Larry saw there, but it wasn't on. But how's he going to get this safe? Because if he tries to punch the 5 off the rail and put the cue ball in behind the 8, he's going to just nudge the 8. He's getting very little room for manoeuvre with where he's stuck, with that 9 ball being in the way, and he's trying to just brush it to the rail and leave it as awkward as he can. So now it's in a knife edge, this rack, and well, once the 5 moves, the 8 ball's got a pocket. And Acero went all out for the pot. He's hung it and he's left it on. I mean, Larry once again is still going to have to find a way out to get on this 6. And he's got it. What's that, pot man? Oh, that other match, I never noticed. I can't see the score because my little Masters thing's up on the screen. Well, this is the one. I mean, this 8-ball isn't difficult, and it should just be a gentle roll in. He just wants to finish right behind the 9, so he's got nothing to do. Anybody know what the score was? Because I can't see it. I can only see Sargo versus Jover match over. 14-6. Well, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, here we go again. Larry rolling the 10 in with break in the next rack, and is he about to turn the match round by getting a ball and a shot and running the table? Two ball is thinking, but the answer to my question is no. Larry cannot buy a ball in the break. He's been trying all afternoon, not had anything, and not a sniff. Well, an easy safety for acero, but he looks as if he's made his mind up. He's going all out. He's calling the combo, but that's nowhere near set. But he's played it well. Where's the cue ball ending up though? Well, he could end up billiarding the 2 in. Now it's a question of whether he's going to play the cut in the 1 or play the billiard or just push through. Well, he's going to call the billiard, maybe even the combo. Probably looks easier for the billiard. It looks as if he's lining up the cut though. Yeah. Well, that's dead on. That was never missing. Well, we'll have a look at the bracket. There is a bit of catching up to be done in the bracket. I haven't had a look at it today, and that's another nice shot. Like I say, I mean, acero has hardly put a foot wrong when he's had chances at the table. Needs to keep this flush to the rail. He certainly doesn't give you any impression that he's going to miss when he's getting chances. That's got the cue ball out into the table. Much better than playing it from the rail. We can do going to the right rail, back out and across. The further the better. And that's pretty good. Now you can have a choice, go left or right on this 10 ball, whichever he's more comfortable with, but as long as he gets down far enough, he'll leave it simple enough, and that will do. And acero just marches on, no sign of weakness, and this to take him within 1. And once again the break, and he's going to have a shot in the 1, I think that the 2 ball has just come to Larry's rescue. The 9 ball has gone in a break. That 1 ball was on, and the 2 ball just decided to toddle over in front. Well, Larry would have been playing a long while ago if he could get a ball in a shot, and he's not had anything. The poor guy, I feel sorry for him. I mean, if he was making blunder after blunder, you could say, well, he's well deserved to be trailing 13-7. He's not at the bloody sniff. Can't get a ball, can't get a shot. Absolutely nada on the break. So the push out from Acero, well, if he pushes up top, he's simply going to be nailed in behind the 2. Yeah, and the chances that he has had, he's messed up 2 of them at least, which cost him. But again, that's partly the problem as well. He's just had no chance to get into any rhythm, any potting, nothing. It's all been broken up by Acero getting balls and shots and running tables. So the push out played. Larry didn't like it, so Larry's pushed it back. And if Acero can get this right, because the obvious shot here would be just to kick directly in behind the 1 if you can, hope the 1 gets to the rail, and you leave Larry stuck behind the 2 like that. What a shot. That is absolutely perfect. Easy to kick it, but again, executed perfectly. And this has got Larry in trouble though. He's called the 4, but he's not really worried about that. He's just hoping to hit the bloody 1 and leave it safe. That's all he's hoping for. Well, I feel sure that Acero will take the thin cut on, ride his luck that he'll still have a shot in the 2. And the cue ball has scratched, so Larry has got a chance. And there isn't a problem on the table. The 4 ball is off the rail comfortably. It's all about just keeping the cue ball under control. Oops. I bumped my mouse mat there with my bottle of water. Well, the best way to intimidate your opponent is exactly what Acero's doing. That's the perfect way to intimidate anyone. Whenever you're getting a chance, whether it be given to you by your opponent or created by yourself, as long as you're running the table every time, there's nothing more intimidating than that, because the other guy knows what you're up to. He knows how good you're playing, and you know, that's where it's no more intimidating than that. I mean, you can shout abuse like Stubb does, but when the other guy's potting balls all the time, that's the best intimidation, the best form of legal intimidation. Well, I mean, you tell me what the strategy is to making balls in the break, Stubb. Because if you know that, you'll walk through this tournament. Because the problem that you will have, Stubb, is the fact that the likes of Acero has been breaking and running the table. You'll break, get a ball, get a shot, and then run yourself out of shape. Whereas Acero has been pretty much doing nothing like that. And this is the type of play you have to do if you're to have a chance of winning this tournament. But you play too loose. That's your problem. Well, talking about playing loose, Larry's in bad shape here. It all hinges on this 7. And having to play these shots to recover, again, it's just asking too much all the time. And that's what will happen. And he's not really got away with it, because Acero will be looking to line up the thin cut. And, well, if he gets this and the cue ball stays on the table, it's match over. And again, the prime example there was Larry ending up right in the middle of the table in the 7, asking too much to do, and it's cost him the match this time. And that's running perfectly. Perfect pace, staring down the 10, and, well, I don't think Albinario played as good as this. That was an excellent performance by Acero. Take your hat off to him. Well, I don't think he broke and got as many balls and run as many tables as Acero did. I'll say that. Whenever Albinario was getting a chance, he was taking them out, but he wasn't getting the breaks and the runs as many as Acero had in this match. It doesn't matter. It's over, and Larry's on to the one-loss side. He's going to have to work the hard way again. But I mean, most of the damage was inflicted by the opponent, not self-inflicted as much this time. But in the end, it's a comfortable win for Acero, and he marches on. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a quick look at the bracket, and just catch up with what's been happening, and get this bloody thing to work. Right, let's look from top to bottom. We've got Moz now set to play Albinario. Moz beat Jose 14-7 in round 2. If we look at the result there, Acero has gone through to round 4, and further down, Semi-Pro is through to round 4 after having beaten Bedhead, and LS3 is waiting to play Stub. And further down, Mooncake is going to be the 3rd match tonight. Mooncake and Sergaresh at 7 o'clock British Summer Time. And as we go further down, Spectre Dawn has arranged his match with Bankster. That's due to start in a few days' time. I think it's Thursday. I'll have that one. And then further down again, Sky Bitter is going to be playing Jover after Jover's win this afternoon against Sargo. I've never seen this guy play. Hazard is through, and that is the winner's side of the tournament. If we look at the one-loss side and go right from the top, if we can get there, that is. If we work our way down, legit Christian's through after a forfeit by Legit Matthew. Squirter has gone through. Another forfeit. This is where the forfeits come thick and fast, because these guys think they've got no chance, so they give up. Snake Eyes to play Sargo, having lost this afternoon. Sargo. Bedhead has got a long wait before he sees a match. Juan was through as well. He's got a while to wait. Keith's to play Brain Fill Out, whenever that will be. And we have the match between Cobra and Shaft Tracks. That might be a bit of a bloodbath, that match. Race to 10. Let me just see, because Shaft Tracks, how come that's not showing it in the bracket? Where the hell is he? There he is. Because Shaft Tracks got a bit of a doing against Spectre Dawn in that second round match, 14 racks to 2, and we were all praying that he would get a rack, so I don't rate his chances much in the match to come, and that will be in about 10 minutes time. But in the meantime, if we go further down, I don't think there's anything else. No, there's nothing else to come. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I'm going to kill the stream and I'll restart it, so that I've got a separate video on YouTube. And in the meantime, I will thank you for your company, and I hope you can join us for the next match. It might be over quite quick, and then we'll get the other one later on tonight. We'll be back for that as well. So until we meet again, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you again in a few minutes.